Hey guys, this video is not going to be a step-by-step or how-to video. It's just going to be kind of a in-between and what I'm doing kind of a video. But anyway, I was out mowing grass with the opposed twin Montgomery Ward, the 14 horsepower, and it started cutting out on me like it was running out of fuel. So I had to run it with choke for a little bit, and then somebody only did it when it got hot, so I stopped and checked the spark, and the first thing I thought of was probably the coil might be going out, because I put one of them cheap aftermarket coils on this probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I think there's a video on it. Anyway, I put the inline checker on it while it was acting up, and it wasn't that, so it's got to be the fuel pump part of the carburetor. And if you all remember last year, if you watched my videos, I had a major issue with the carburetor on this engine, and it flooded the motor out with gas. But I got to fix the hood too. You see it's broke down there. Let me see if I can get it in shot. Yeah, you can see it all cracked and everything, so I figure try to do some welding on that and fix that while I got the hood off. I have to take that off in order to get to that. I got a rebuild kit for the fuel pump. It's a 3-bolt one on this. I was going to order a brand new carburetor like I originally said I was going to do if I had any more issues with this, but I figured why not just try the simple fix. And I'm going to take parts off of another carburetor that's identical to this one, the fuel pump section. So if I remember, like I couldn't replace part of the gasket on this, it was stuck, and I didn't have time to mess with it, so I'm going to take the parts off of another carburetor. It's in unknown condition, and see if maybe we can take 2 carburetors and make one go. And if it don't work this time, then it's going to get a new carburetor. I'm probably going to go ahead and order a new carburetor for it anyway, just to have on hand, because I'm getting tired of messing with it. You know, I don't mind fixing anything and doing the work, but you get tired of doing the exact same thing over and over again. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward to take the hood off and get 2 bolts on each side up here, and the 2 that's down there, or 1 in this case since it's broke, and unhook the headlights. I'm actually thinking about putting the LED headlights on this too at some point. We might look at that later on. Might be a separate video. Thinking about putting those cubes on there, or the fog light style with the 6 LEDs like I put on that tractor. Alright, so this is the vacuum line that goes to the bottom here, the fuel pump. For some reason I didn't put a clamp on there, and it's kind of loose on there, so that might be the whole problem. I'm still going to rebuild the fuel pump part on this carburetor again. I'm probably just going to change that line. It looks like it's loose down there too, so we'll just redo that. I can't remember if I changed that when I did the fuel line before. The fuel line's still in decent shape. I might go ahead and change out some of that too, just as precaution. I think the main problem is probably this right here. Let's get the carburetor off and look at it on the bench. I'm going to take the whole carburetor completely apart, just so I can make sure it don't need cleaned again. I'm going to skip all this on the video unless I run into another problem or something, because I do have another video on rebuilding this type of carburetor. I'm pretty sure that vacuum line is probably the main issue on this, but since I got it apart, I'm going to go ahead and clean and rebuild the fuel pump part again, just to make sure that's not the problem. That way we'll know. And if it acts up after this, let's get a new carburetor. So we'll get right back to you here in a minute. I just want to kind of hit and miss on this. I do have a complete rebuild video on this type of carburetor. And the 3-bolt and the 4-bolt ones are identical, except for 3-bolt and 4-bolt. It all goes together exactly the same, just uses different parts. And the 4-bolt one's got 1 extra bolt, so that's the only difference. Alright, so I didn't replace nothing inside except for the gasket that goes in between here, and that's only because I tore it taking it apart. Everything else looked still brand new, so I'm pretty sure that vacuum line was going to be the issue on this. So go ahead and change that out on there, then we'll get the carburetor back on. Alright, so I replaced the vacuum line, put new clamps on both ends, put the new fuel line through the engine, replaced the fuel filter. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I put the clear one in it. Well, I can kind of see it. Redid the fuel line there. The only fuel line I've never changed is from here to the tank. I might have to do that next if we keep having problems, but let's go ahead and try to start. It'll be a little hard to start at first so it gets fuel to it. So now we've got a gas leak on the fuel pump part. Might have to end up rebuilding it after all. I don't know why, everything looked new inside still. Alright, so off camera I took the carburetor back off and rebuilt the whole fuel pump again. should take out. Alright, so I just stacked 2 washers together and welded on here, in on there, and grind it smooth. And it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it should be stronger and better than what it was. So now I'm going to drill these out to 5/16, make it use a little bit bigger bolt. That should help it too. Alright guys, so I made that a lot stronger, and hopefully it won't rattle so much on the front now. I just hope that takes care of the carburetor issue. It seems like it's running alright in here, but I'm going to go out and get it good and hot again and see how it's going to do. I went out and mowed with it, probably half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Running perfect. I thought it was fixed, and all of a sudden I started smelling the exhaust getting lean. I was like, yeah, I think it's acting up again, and sure enough it was. It shut off and like never got it started again. Like I said, if it didn't fix it, I was going to change the fuel line between the engine and the tank, so that's what I did. And this is the line that came off of it. It's kind of case hardened, but not as bad as I was expecting. But it's the cheaper, what I call single wall line. It don't have the cloth cords in it, or string, or whatever you want to call it, like the better fuel line does. So I picked up the good stuff this time. It's a 25-foot piece of fuel line from Briggs and Stratton. I thought I'd check the fuel filter, and sure enough, you can see chunks of black pieces of plastic or rubber from that hose in there. So the hose was the problem. It was clogging up real bad, and you can see right there. So that's definitely what the problem was. I put the regular type filter on it that it had, routed up the way it's supposed to be, and the engine still had a little bit of gas in it from where I finally got it running enough to put up. And so it started up on that, and as soon as I looked in there, I seen the filter fill up. So it's getting fuel straight to the carburetor quick now. So I also changed the valve out just as precaution. That way all the fuel line and fuel parts are brand new on it. So starting over with all that. Alright, so we still got the same problem. So I'm going to take the gas tank off and flush it. I already pulled the fenders off. Pretty simple. We got 2 bolts down there, 2 bolts over there, and 4 going in this plate up here. And get to the actual tank, which is plastic. Take out all these bolts around here. This piece here should just come off and be able to take the tank out, I hope. So let's see what happens. Well, I'll show you what I think happened. I got another tank here. It's got the exact same lid on it, but it's got a seal or a gasket that's deteriorating and falling apart. And the one that's coming off, this is off the mower there, it's missing in it. So I'm guessing it deteriorated and it's all fell in there, and that's what's stopping it up. So hopefully I can free it up and be able to just keep using the original tank. Well guys, I was right. I'm pretty sure it's what the problem was. This is the tank. It's about a 3-gallon tank, what this is. So I flushed it out. Sure enough, this is what's coming out of it. Even a little piece of red plastic, looks like something was drilled or something. You see several particles in there. There appears to be a screen right here too that was in there, and I don't have no way of getting that back in there, so we'll be relying on the fuel filter 100% now. So that's that. Let's get it back together and see if it'll run. Well, it's running good inside the garage, but we'll wait till it gets started cutting grass and see. Usually about 15-20 minutes into it, it'll start running lean and run out of fuel, so hopefully that'll take care of it. This is some of the pieces that came out of it, you can see. I figured it was something like this when you send that one filter that came off of it. So Okay, so I think I finally figured it out this time. So when these opposed twins, the fuel line runs through underneath the housing across the block and into the carburetor, the fuel pump. I was thinking, well, maybe this engine starting to run a little bit hotter as it gets older, and so I routed the fuel line off the side here and into it. Cut grass for an hour and a half. It didn't act up at all, so apparently that's what the problem was. So I just want to give you an update on that and conclude this video. Seems like I've had to redo everything on this mower to get this problem fixed. It was something that simple. So, well, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help you fix your fuel issues. I showed some other things that are common problems anytime it has symptoms like this. So, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.